Hi, Dale from my garage once again, and this time my project is going to be a bookcase. My son is starting his junior year in college and he got kind of tired of all the luxuries of dorm life, so he's staying off campus and he needs a place to put his books and binders and items like that. Being a college kid, I know that he's probably not going to be the gentlest on a piece of furniture, and he's going to be putting a lot of heavy items on these shelves. So I could have went down to Target or Walmart and got a $45 or $50 particle board bookshelf that would have probably fallen apart before the first semester ended. Or I could have even gone to IKEA and gotten a $100 particle board bookcase that would have fallen apart in the first semester. So instead I decided to go ahead and go out and buy a sheet of plywood and build it myself. So this way it will at least be strong enough to last him a few years, I'm hoping, maybe a whole lot longer. But like I said, I know that college kids can be pretty rough on furniture, so I'm going to put in a few extra supports and let's get going. I have a spare piece of 1/2 inch pine plywood that I'm going to use for the back, and I wanted to keep this project down to a single sheet of plywood. I bought a 4x8 sheet of 3-inch pure bond plywood that's primed on one side. My son wanted this bookshelf to be 4 foot tall, 4 feet wide, and 17 inches deep. I calculated that from a single sheet of plywood I'd be able to make this with 2 middle shelves, a top and a bottom. To make the breakdown cuts easier, I backed my truck halfway into the garage and I made my cuts right from my truck. This way I didn't have to move around the full 4x8 sheet. This really made my work easy. I'll probably do this on later projects. The side pieces and top are cut at the full 17-inch width. The bottom and 2 middle shelves are cut at 15 3/4 inch width. This is to accommodate a 3/4 inch brace for the shelf, as well as a 1/2 inch back. You'll see more on this later. You may notice that I'm cutting these pieces cross grain. Normally for a bookshelf, you'd want to cut with the grain, as that will make for a nicer looking end product. I'm going to be painting this bookshelf, so grain direction really doesn't matter. I'm using pocket holes to assemble this bookshelf. On all shelves, including the top and bottom shelves, drill pocket holes on both sides and in the front of the shelves. These will be used to attach to the side pieces and to attach the face to the bookshelf. Both side pieces only need pocket holes in the front to attach to the face. All pocket holes should be drilled on the bottom of each shelf and on the inside of the side pieces. You will not be able to see the pocket holes on the bottom of the shelves, and since I'm painting this bookcase black, the pocket holes on the inside front of the side pieces basically disappear. You can fill them if you want to, but I don't think it's needed, so I'm not going to. It's already time to start assembling. We'll start by attaching the top to the side pieces. I clamped a small board to my workbench to help with making sure the side and top stay flush. I use a square to help line the pieces up, but generally, as long as you're close, these pocket holes will pull things together squarely. After the top, bottom, and side pieces are assembled, you can tweak the box carcass back into square if it's not. Use glue and fasten the pocket hole screws. Before I attach the bottom, I want to add a brace to the back. From the remaining scrap plywood, I cut a 1.5 inch strip. This matches the 1.5 inch width of the face frame I'm using. This is going to serve 3 purposes. First, since the bottom shelf will be raised 1.5 inches off the ground to give room for the faceplate, this will add support for the entire bookcase while it's sitting on the ground. Second, since these are 4 foot wide shelves, I thought they would need extra support, so this will add a lot of stiffness to the shelf. Third, it will add a bunch more glue up room for the back, which will add even more strength to the entire bookcase. Once I have the back support strip cut to size, I pre-drill with a countersink bit, add some glue, and then attach with 1 1/4 inch screws. This is going to leave a very strong shelf. I just want to make this quick comments about my videos sometimes being longer than they need to be. I realize this, but I do it because I'm trying to help one major growing problem in this world. My wife, as a teacher, will completely confirm all the studies that say that our attention spans, squirrel! Now I simply attach the bottom shelf to the bookcase with glue and pocket hole screws. I take care to make sure that the bottom of the back support strip is flush with the bottom of the bookcase. This way the bookcase will not rock when sitting on the floor. Now that the bookcase carcass is complete, I do a final check for square. I do this by measuring diagonally from corner to corner. If the measurements are equal, then you're all squared up. If not, you can adjust by pushing on one side to move it into square. I'm pretty much a square all the time, so no adjustment needed. Moving on to the 2 middle shelves. Just like the bottom shelf, the 2 middle shelves will span a full 4 feet, so I wanted to add some support. I cut 2 strips 2 inches wide and cut them to size to match the shelves. Just like the bottom shelf, I attach these to the backs of each middle shelf. This means pre-drilling with a countersink bit, gluing, and screwing. For those of you wondering how this is going to look, these will only hang about 1 1/4 inches below the shelves. Remember, these shelves are 14 inches deep, so these braces would be hard to see. Anyways, they'll basically disappear once the bookcase is painted black. Installing the middle shelves is pretty easy. Measure carefully and mark on both sides exactly where the shelves should go. Place a couple pieces of 1/2 inch scrap wood on the bench to take the space that the back piece will take. Use a square to make sure that not only are you square to the sides, but also square or level from front to back. Slide the shelves in and attach with pocket hole screws. The bookcase and all shelves are now assembled, so I'm moving on to the face frame. I'm using some select pine boards that I had left from my dry erase board project. These are 1 1/2 inches wide and 3/4 inches thick. I start by cutting the outside frame pieces to size. That is, the 2 side pieces, the top and bottom pieces. I use glue and pocket holes to connect these together. Not only will the face frame hide the plywood edges and make the bookcase look much nicer, it also helps in hiding the pocket holes on the inside front of the side piece, as well as add strength to the overall bookcase. Clamp the face frame onto your bookcase so that the outside edges are flush with the bookcase side pieces and the top and bottom shelves. Place your 2 remaining face boards so that they are flush with the tops of the 2 middle shelves. Carefully mark on the face frame side pieces where the 2 middle face frame pieces need to be attached. Transfer the marks you made on the face frame side pieces to the back of the face frame. Now using glue and pocket holes, attach the 2 middle face frame pieces. This is where you really want to have measured twice and have as accurate as possible markings. Now that the face frame is complete, it's time to attach it to the bookcase. Put a good bead of glue on all front edges of the bookcase. Make sure to cover the sides and all shelves, as this is what's going to add a lot of strength to your bookcase. Once you have applied the glue, carefully place the face frame on the bookcase so that it's flush with all edges. Clamp it down so it doesn't move. Remember all those pocket holes we added to the fronts of the shelves and the side pieces? Now is when you finally get to use them. Grab a healthy handful of pocket screws and start screwing. This will pull the face frame tight to the bookcase and each shelf. This, in conjunction with the support pieces that we added to the back of each shelf, is what makes the shelves strong enough for a full 4-foot span. And it also makes for a nice looking bookcase. All that is left as far as construction goes is the back piece. Like I mentioned earlier, I have a spare piece of 1/2 inch plywood that I'll be using for the back. I just need to cut it to size. Hey friends, last night online I read an incredibly interesting article. It's all around marketing and advertising. It's something that I don't think I would ever really do myself, but I would love to get your input on what you think. It's all around the use of subliminal messages. A, do you think they work? And B, do you think they should be illegal? Let me know in your comments below. Before I attach the back piece to the bookcase, I'm going to paint around the inside edges of the bookcase. It's easier to do this now before the back is attached. I'm also going to paint the inside of the back piece before attaching it, as it's way easier to do this now. I first tape over the areas that I'm going to be gluing to the bookcase, since wood glue will not bind well to painted surfaces. Don't do what I did and forget to tape off the area to glue the bottom shelf.
Oh brah, epic fail.
I don't feel like sanding off the paint, so I'll only be gluing the back to 2 of the 3 shelves I originally planned. I'll be attaching the left, right, and top of the back with pocket holes. Don't forget to adjust your pocket hole tool from 3/4 inch to 1/2 inch stock. Place the back on the bookcase and pre-drill with a countersink bit into the back supports of the bottom and 2 middle shelves. The top shelf didn't get a back support, as that one would have been the most visible, and the back itself will be the support for the top shelf. Now for the final assembly of the back piece. Put some glue on the 2 middle shelf back supports. Remember, I made a mistake and painted over the back where it comes in contact with the bottom shelf back support. Otherwise, I'd be putting glue there as well. Place the back on the bookcase and make sure it is snug to the top shelf. Start with the pocket holes at the top. Flush the back panel with the back of the top shelf and screw the pocket holes in. This will pull the back piece nice and tight under the top shelf. Then move to the pocket holes on the left and right side pieces. Once all the pocket holes are in, use 3/4 inch screws to attach the back panel to the 2 middle and bottom back shelf supports. Once this is done, the bookcase construction is complete. 2 coats of black paint and this project is done. My son wanted all black, so that's what he got. It's very, very sturdy. Here in about the middle on this one and this and that shelf, I put easily 40 or 50 pounds of weights on there. There was no depression at all. It didn't bend at all, so it's very, very sturdy. It's going to last for years and years, unlike that Target or Walmart stuff you would have bought, or the name brand Target and Walmart called IKEA. That particle board wouldn't have lasted a semester in a college room, so this is going to last for years. I'm happy with the way it turned out. I think it looks great. If it was for me, maybe I wouldn't have chosen all black, but it's not for me, it's for him. I'm not sure he'll even have enough books to fill this up. It's got plenty of items for magazines and nice magazines that I like to read. Nice. Very nice. Okay, if you liked what you saw, give it a thumbs up, please. And if you want to follow along, go ahead and subscribe, hit the button. If you have any comments or questions, maybe you saw something you didn't quite understand why I did it this way, or maybe you have ideas on how I could have done something better, leave a comment below and I will be sure to reply. Until next time, see ya.